I never thought I'd be that guy who gets his life turned upside down because of a woman, but here I am. My name's Mike, by the way. I'm 32 and I was supposed to marry Emily in 2 weeks. We'd been together for 4 years and honestly I thought we had a pretty good thing going. She was smart, ambitious, a little bitchy sometimes, but in a way I liked, kept me on my toes. Everything seemed perfect, or so I thought. The signs didn't start showing up out of nowhere, but they definitely became more obvious in the last few months. Emily was working late more often, always with some excuse about big clients and important deals. I'd ask her if she was okay, if anything was bothering her, and she'd brush me off with that typical bitchy tone, saying she was just busy and I should trust her. Yeah, trust. That's what she kept saying. But I started noticing little things. Her phone would be hidden more, and she'd get defensive if I asked to see it. She'd leave her laptop open when she went to the bathroom, and sometimes I'd catch her deleting messages or clearing her browsing history. That's when I started feeling uneasy. Still, I told myself I was paranoid. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was just insecure because I loved her so much. Then came the trip. Emily left for a week on some business conference. Another big deal, she said. I was supposed to go with her at first, but she insisted I stay home, saying she needed to focus and she'd be working late every night. I was suspicious but tried to brush it off. I mean, she's a professional, right? I trusted her. That was until I got her phone one night just out of curiosity and saw the messages. What I didn't expect was what I found. Texts between her and her boss, David, that made my stomach turn. They were flirty, suggestive even. She was calling him babe, telling him how she loved working with him and how she was so turned on after their last meeting. I swear my blood ran cold. I saw the photos she sent him, these sexy pictures, the kind she never shows me. I couldn't believe it. Emily, my fiancée, was fucking her boss, the woman I was about to. Mary was lying to me the entire time, sleeping with her boss during a business trip and probably more than that. I didn't confront her right away. I needed to think to process this mess. But the evidence was right there in my hands, literally. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and honestly furious. How could she do this? How could she lie for so long, act like everything was perfect? I felt like I didn't know her anymore. My trust was shattered and I kept asking myself if I ever really knew her at all. That's where I am now, sitting here trying to figure out what to do next. Do I confront her? Do I cut her out? Do I just forget the whole thing and pretend it didn't happen? Honestly, I don't even know if I can ever trust her again. And that's what kills me the most, knowing the woman I loved, who I thought loved me, was out there fucking some guy who wasn't me. During our last week as an engaged couple, she was out there cheating on me with her boss. That's just, I don't even have words for how I feel. After I found those messages, everything else in my life felt like it was spinning out of control. I stayed up all night staring at the screen, reading and rereading her texts, trying to convince myself I was misreading things or overthinking. But deep down, I knew what I saw. There was no denying it. Emily had been lying to me for months, maybe longer. She was cheating and she didn't even bother to hide it anymore. The next morning, I couldn't keep it in. I confronted her. I knew I had to. I couldn't pretend everything was okay, especially not when I just discovered my fiancée was an outright cheater, so I called her. Her voice was calm, a little dismissive when she answered, like she didn't think I'd be stupid enough to find out. She said, "Mike, what's wrong? Why are you calling so early?" I told her I knew about the affair, about David, about everything. There was silence on the other end, then a laugh, fake, cold, and condescending. "Mike, you're being ridiculous. You have no idea what you're talking about." That was her first lie, I guess, trying to deny what was blatantly obvious. She kept claiming it was all some misunderstanding, that she and David were just friends, that she didn't mean anything. She said, "You're overreacting. It's just sex. It's not a big deal. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." Yeah, right, like that makes it okay to cheat on your fiancée during her last week before the wedding. We argued. I yelled, she yelled back. She told me I was insecure, jealous, and that I didn't trust her enough. That's her favorite line. "You don't trust me." As if that's the problem. The real problem was her lying, cheating, and playing me for a fool. I could hear her smirking even through the phone. She had that bitchy tone, like she thought she was better than me for catching some hot guy's attention. The thing is, I loved her so much. I still do, or at least I did. But that love is now contaminated with disgust and betrayal. When she kept insisting it was just sex, I told her I'd seen enough. I told her I was done, that I was done trusting her, done pretending she hadn't just destroyed everything we'd built. And that's when she snapped. She started yelling about how I was controlling, how she had the right to have a life too, and that I was just jealous because I couldn't get her to stay faithful. That hurt more than anything, her calling me jealous like I was the problem. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. I felt empty, shattered inside, like I'd lost the most important person in my life. I sat on my bed staring at the ceiling, trying to breathe. I was overwhelmed with so many emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. I kept asking myself, how did it get to this point? When did she start playing me? And most of all, how do I pick up the pieces now? I know I should have been angry at her. And yeah, I was, but beneath that, I also felt this sickening sense of betrayal that cut so deep I didn't know if I could recover from it. I kept thinking about the moments we shared, her laughing at my stupid jokes, the quiet evenings, the plans for our future, and I realized I couldn't trust her anymore. Not really. Every touch, every word she ever said felt tainted now. I was starting to understand that love without trust isn't love at all. It's just a fragile illusion that shatters with one truth, one betrayal. I'm still trying to figure out what to do next. Do I confront her again? Do I just walk away and never look back? I keep thinking about her bitchy attitude, how she'd lie straight to my face without blinking. It's kind of fitting that the woman I loved turned out to be someone I can't trust, a liar, a cheat, a manipulator. But more than anything, I feel like I've been played. Like I was some fool who believed in fairy tales, and now I'm left with this mess. I don't know how I'm supposed to move forward from this, but I do know one thing: I'm never trusting her again. Not after what I saw, after what she said, after everything I feel right now. After that confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't look at Emily the same way anymore. The girl I was supposed to marry, the woman I loved with all my heart, she was suddenly just a stranger to me. The betrayal cut so deep I felt like I was bleeding inside. I kept replaying the moments I had with her, trying to find some sign, some clue I missed, but there was nothing. Just the cold, hard truth that she had been lying to my face for months. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her messages, her smirking face, that stupid, condescending tone she used when she dismissed my feelings. I kept asking myself how I didn't see the signs earlier, how I was so blind to her game. And then the worst part hit me: how I had trusted her so blindly. How I had believed all her lies, her empty promises, her false "I love you"s. It was like waking up from a nightmare I couldn't escape. One thing I knew for sure was that I couldn't just pretend this didn't happen. I had to decide what to do about her. I thought about calling her again, telling her to come over and talk face to face, but honestly, I wasn't sure I wanted to see her anymore. The anger was bubbling up. The betrayal was too raw. I needed some space, some time to breathe, to think. So I packed a bag. Not much, just some clothes, my laptop, a few essentials. I decided to leave the apartment for a while, maybe stay at a friend's place or just get a hotel. I didn't want to be around her right now. I needed to be alone with my thoughts to process everything I just learned. It was hard, really hard. While I was packing, I kept thinking about the wedding day and how that seemed like a lifetime ago. I'd been so excited, so ready to start this new chapter with Emily. And now, I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. The thought of walking down the aisle with her, knowing she'd already lied, cheated, betrayed, made me sick. I couldn't imagine going through with it. Not now, maybe not ever. That night, I stayed up all night scrolling through her messages, trying to piece everything together. I kept asking myself, did she ever love me? Or was I just some placeholder until she found her next thrill? The more I thought about it, the more I realized I'd been so blind to her true nature. She was manipulative, bitchy, and so good at hiding what she was really doing. That's what made it worse. She was pretending to be this loving, dedicated woman, but behind my back she was screwing her boss. I felt a mix of disgust, heartbreak, and a strange sense of relief. Relief that I finally knew the truth, even if it hurt like hell. I had wasted so much time believing in her fairy tale, and now I saw her for what she really was: a liar and a cheat. I kept telling myself I deserved better, that I shouldn't settle for someone who lies and cheats behind my back. but it still hurt. It hurts more than I can put into words. I started thinking about what comes next. Honestly, I don't think I can stay with her. Not if she's capable of doing something so cruel. I know I have to end it, but that's easier said than done. I don't want to become some bitter ex, but I also can't pretend I don't feel broken inside. I don't want to be that guy who gets played and just accepts it. I want my dignity back, even if it means going through hell first. So here I am, sitting in a hotel room trying to get a grip on everything. I keep asking myself whether I should confront her again, tell her I know the truth and that I'm done, or just cut ties and move on. Honestly, I don't think I can face her right now. I need time to cool off to figure out what's best for me. I just hate that everything happened just days before our wedding. I was supposed to start a life with her, build something real. Instead, I got a slap in the face, a punch I didn't see coming. This whole situation has made me question everything I believed about love and trust. I used to think that once you found someone you loved, that was it, nothing could break you apart. But now, I see that a lot of relationships are built on lies, on pretending. I feel foolish for ever trusting her. Foolish for ever thinking she was different. But I guess that's part of growing up. You learn that sometimes the person you love the most is also the one who can hurt you the deepest. In the days that followed, I didn't talk to Emily. I couldn't. Every time I saw her name pop up on my phone, I felt sick. Honestly, I was angry, but mostly I just felt devastated. I kept replaying everything in my mind. The moments I thought were real, the promises she made, the way she looked at me, now all tainted with her lies. How long had she been doing this? Was it just that trip, or had she been sneaking around for months? I didn't want to know the answer, but my mind kept going there anyway. I started reflecting on our relationship. I realized how often I'd ignored the little signs, telling myself she was busy or stressed. I convinced myself that her distant behavior was normal for someone who was working hard, but deep down I'd known. I just refused to admit it. It's amazing how denial works. I thought I was so sure of us, of our future, but now I see how fragile that confidence was. It was built on a house of cards, and her betrayal knocked it all down. The worst part was the feeling of loss, losing the woman I loved, losing the future I'd envisioned. I had so many questions for her, but I knew I'd never get any honest answers. That's when I decided I needed to do something for myself. I started going to the gym, trying to clear my head. I even took a few days off work because I couldn't focus. Every moment was a battle between wanting to cry and wanting to scream. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and more than anything, I felt stupid for trusting her so blindly. It wasn't just about the cheating, though. It was the lies. The way she had lied to my face, pretending everything was fine. She told me she loved me, that she was excited about our wedding, that I was the one for her. All the while she was sneaking around with her boss. That kind of deception cuts deep. I can't help but think about how many times she probably lied to me about where she was or who she was with. Every little thing now feels suspicious. Every call, every message, every text. I started questioning everything about her words, her actions, her motives. I also thought about confronting her again, just to hear her explain herself. Part of me wanted closure, wanted her to admit everything so I could finally understand. But another part, my better judgment, knew that would only hurt more. She'd lie, deny, or twist everything to make herself look innocent. I've seen her do it before, and I didn't want to go through that again. Honestly, I'm tired of her excuses. She's a master at manipulation, and I've learned that some people just aren't worth the pain they cause. That's when I finally made a decision. I can't keep pretending I don't know the truth. I can't keep waiting for her to come clean or to change. She's shown her true colors, and I have to accept it. I need to move on, even if it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I started packing up some of my stuff, thinking about what I'd say when I ended things for good. I knew I couldn't stay with someone who lied so blatantly, who used me as a fool. I also spent time reflecting on what I've learned from all this. One thing is clear: trust is fragile, and once it's broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. I realize now that I shouldn't have ignored those little red flags, those gut feelings. I should have listened to myself earlier. But at the same time, I have to forgive myself for being naive. Love can blind you, but now I see the truth and I have to protect myself from getting hurt like this again. So here I am in this strange limbo. Part of me still loves her, but I know that love isn't enough. Not when it's built on lies and betrayal. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I need to focus on healing. I've lost a lot. My trust, my sense of security, my idea of what we had. But I also know I will get through this. I have to. Because nobody deserves to feel as broken as I do right now, especially not for someone who lied and cheated their way out of a future that could have been ours. The decision to end things was not easy, but it was necessary. I finally sat her down, the day I felt I could breathe again without feeling like I was suffocating. I told her I knew everything, about David, about the messages, about the lies. Her reaction was typical. She tried to act innocent, to deny it all with that bitchy smirk she always had when she thought she was smarter than everyone else. She insisted it was just a mistake, that she didn't mean for it to happen and that she was sorry. Sorry for getting caught maybe, but not sorry for what she did. I could see right through her. Her words came out like scripted lines, rehearsed and insincere. She kept spinning stories, saying she was overwhelmed, that she loved me but was weak, that she didn't want to ruin our future. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I didn't believe her, that I didn't want her to pretend anymore. I said, "You lied to my face for months. You fucked your boss during the week we were supposed to be planning our wedding. How can I trust you now?" She just rolled her eyes and snapped, "You're overreacting. You're making a huge deal out of nothing." That's when I realized she had no remorse, no real guilt. She just wanted to keep her lies going. After that, I told her to pack her stuff. I couldn't stand to see her anymore, not when she was so indifferent, so bitchy about it. I said, "We're done. I want you out of my life." She argued, of course, calling me paranoid, insecure, and claiming I was overreacting because I was jealous and possessive. But I didn't care. I just wanted her gone. I knew that staying around her would only make the pain worse. That night I slept in my empty apartment, alone and exhausted. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that smirk, her words ringing in my ears. I kept replaying everything I knew about her. How she lied, how she manipulated, how she played me for a fool. I felt betrayed on levels I didn't even understand at first. How could she do this to me? How could she lie so effortlessly? I trusted her with my heart, my future, and she threw it all away for a secret affair. That thought haunted me. I didn't think I'd ever look at her the same way again. In the days afterward, I started taking small steps to rebuild myself. I went out with friends, tried to keep busy. I even started therapy, something I never thought I'd do, but I figured I needed help processing everything. I was angry, yes, but also deeply hurt. I was angry that she had used me, that she had lied and cheated, but I was also hurt because I loved her. She was supposed to be the woman I marry, the one I trust unconditionally, and she shattered that trust in a matter of days. I also realized how much I had ignored the warning signs all along. The little things I brushed off, her secretive phone habits, her dismissive attitude, her occasional late nights, weren't just random. They were signs I refused to see. I'd been so blinded by love that I ignored my instincts. But now I see clearly. Love isn't enough when the foundation is a lie. Trust is everything, and once that's broken, it's almost impossible to fix. I won't lie, I still feel empty sometimes. The pain is there, lurking beneath the surface, waiting for me to let my guard down. But I am determined not to let this define me. This experience has taught me that I deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect. And if I can't get that from someone, I'm better off alone. I don't want to be with someone who manipulates and cheats. I want someone who values me enough to be honest, even when it's hard. So I'm taking it day by day. No, I'm not over it yet, and I probably won't be for a while. But I know I'll heal. I'll find someone who truly respects me, who understands that love is built on honesty. And I'll never again ignore that gut feeling that tells me something's wrong. Trust me, if you're in a relationship and something feels off, listen to yourself. Because once someone crosses that line and lies to your face, everything changes. And sometimes the only thing you can do is walk away and start over. It's been a few weeks since I kicked Emily out. Honestly, I don't know if I've fully processed everything yet, but I do know I'm better off without her. Every day is a bit easier, even if the pain still lingers in the background. I've realized that I was so blinded by love that I ignored the warning signs, ignored my instincts, and let her manipulate me for too long. Now I see clearly. I see her for what she really was: bitchy, selfish, manipulative, and a liar. Looking back, I'm furious at myself for trusting her so blindly. But I'm also proud that I finally faced the truth, no matter how hard it was. I could have stayed in that toxic cycle of lies and betrayal, but I chose to wake up and cut her out of my life. That was the only way I could start healing. It hurt like hell, but I know it was the right decision. What I've learned from all this is something I wish I'd known sooner. Never ignore your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust is the foundation of any relationship. Once it's broken, it's almost impossible to glue back together. I also learned that some people are just not worth the pain they cause. Emily wasn't just cheating. She was lying, manipulating, and playing with my feelings for her own selfish reasons. She showed me that love isn't enough when the person you're with doesn't respect or value you. I'm not bitter. At least I'm trying not to be. I know I'll find someone who genuinely cares about me, someone who doesn't play games or hide their true intentions. I want honesty. I want loyalty. And I want to be with someone who understands that love isn't about lies, manipulation, or sex with her boss during the week before our wedding. This experience has changed me, and honestly, I think it's made me stronger. I'm not the same guy I was a month ago. I've learned to stand up for myself, to listen to my instincts, and most importantly, to realize that I am worth more than someone who cheats and lies. I am worth respect and honesty, and I refuse to settle for less anymore. So, to anyone going through something similar, trust your feelings. Don't ignore the red flags, even if you love the person. Because in the end, your happiness and self-respect come first. If someone really loves you, they won't lie, cheat, or manipulate. They'll be honest even when it's hard. And if they're not, better to walk away now than to waste more time on a false illusion. I'm finally done with her. I've started to rebuild my life. It's going to take time, but I know I'll be okay. I deserve better, and I'm never letting someone make me feel small or unworthy again. This whole experience has opened my eyes to the kind of person I want to be and the kind of partner I want to find someday. One thing's for sure, I'll never settle for betrayal again.